Well, welcome to the February 28th, 2023 session of Tangerine SDR and HAMSI technical session. My name is Dave, KV0S, and this week I've been doing a little bit of coding and cleaning up old projects and working on new projects, but not a whole lot of substantive stuff to talk about. So that's it for me. Next on the list is Nathaniel, W2NAF. Go ahead, Nathaniel.
Thanks, Dave. Busy as usual. I've been continuing to work on lots of details for the HAMSI workshop. It's coming along well. Let's see, some big news there. Tim Duffy has been very generous and he has offered door prizes for the HAMSI workshop banquet. So there's now going to be an IC 7300 courtesy of DX Engineering.
Wow.
Available for the door prize, plus 10 $100 gift cards. So I'll probably actually announce that on the HAMSI listserv tomorrow. And then he was also kind enough to donate an amplifier, an ACOM 1010, I believe, to the university club. So we'll have an HF amplifier too. So very exciting.
Very good.
Yeah. So I'm working on adapting the white papers that I wrote back in the fall into a review paper. So I spent a bunch of time writing this weekend. I need to continue doing writing. Just all sorts of things like that. W2NF, back to net.
Very good. And next on the list is Bill, AB4EJ. Go ahead, Bill.
Thanks, Dave. Good evening to the net. Not a whole lot to report. My student team has been working on an improved search feature for searching for observations using a geofence. So if you want to find all the observations, either magnetometer or spectrum, that were reported by people within a certain lat long grid, you can do that. Also, the team has developed a way of ingesting all of the magnetometer data from the Linode system into the Personal Space Weather Station Central Control System, and we'll have to create some additional accounts for that. So anyway, it'll be possible for people to go in to find out. I mean, you just, if you find an account has been created for you and you don't know what the password is because we created it, just go in and do a password reset request via your email, and we know what your email is. So anyway, we'll go that way. So back to net.
Okay. Next on the list is Jim, K4BSE. Go ahead, Jim.
Good evening, all. Well, big news to me really has nothing directly to do with ham radios. I had surgery on my foot a couple of weeks ago, and I've been hobbling around in a boot. I got that off today. In good health. Hey. I'll be able to take a shower tomorrow, so I'm feeling good about that. And I'll be getting over in the morning to a fellow ham's house here. I stuck my foot in my mouth, and several people had said, gee, I'd sure like to take a course in the extra class license. And so I put my foot in my mouth and said, well, I've taught such a course where I came from a few years ago, and I don't mind teaching it. So I'm going over to look at a place that's been offered to have it, and looks like a good venue. Sounds like it. This will be my first time seeing it. I'm excited about it, and I think we're actually going to get this thing off the ground.
Well, very good. Is that it?
That's it.
Okay, next on the list is Dave, KD0EAG. Go ahead, Dave.
Oh, that's me. Yeah, I'm here, and I've been staying busy with odds and ends, but nothing really to discuss. Just trying to figure out where the magnetometers are a little bit, but no one tells me. So otherwise, not much. Take care.
Okay. Next on the list is Mike, AAAK. Go ahead, Mike.
Well, thank you, Dave. Greetings to everyone listening. Back to you, Dave.
Okay. Next on the list is Bob, N5BRG. Go ahead, Bob.
Hello, everybody. Getting a little bit done here because the weather got a little nicer for us in this area. And hopefully be able to get some antennas and other things done on my systems here tomorrow, actually. So back to you, Dave.
Very good. Next on the list is David McGaw, N1HAC. Go ahead, David.
Good evening, everyone. It's been an interesting day geomagnetically. I've been watching things waffle between 6 and 7 and keeping track of propagation. Right now, I think just about anything coming through has a warble on it. Very mild, very weak, 15 megahertz. But I was actually making 15 meter and 10 meter FT8 contacts earlier. And so who knows, those electrons will bounce as they will. But unfortunately, didn't get to see any aurora last night. I think there might have been some visible from here in New Hampshire. It was just getting going, but we had some clouds to the north, even though it was clear overhead. And today, we're getting more snow. Now, I would be, saying, we're snowy here, except that I guess we don't have anything on California right now. So yeah,
Yes.
we're going to get another well, what is it? Maybe 5 to 8 inches tomorrow, and then some rain toward the end of the week, then more snow. It's like, yeah, climate change. Actually, I was listening to something earlier about climate disruption, and
Okay.
yeah, it's very unstable. So that's about it. Radio's all over the place, but what else is new? Back to net.
Okay, and I do have to remind you, it was a month ago you were complaining you didn't have enough snow.
Oh, I know. Well, it is interesting that one thing that I do consider normal is that our climate, so to speak, will shift month to month. So we had the
Yes.
warm month, now we have the cold month,
Okay,
and it's winter. I'm good with that. Back to
very
net.
good. Okay, next on the list is Dylan R. Go ahead, Dylan.
Hello. Been working on the case that I just got some files for. What was it? Saturday or Sunday. So just getting that worked out, and I will be asking if you guys have any specific wants that you have for the case, like maybe how it should be designed or how it should go together. But other than that, going good, and I don't really have anything else, so I'll send it back to net control.
Okay. Next on the list is Gary, AF8A. Go ahead, Gary. Nice
Hey,
eclipse.
good evening, everyone. Yep, that's from 2017. I'm not sure where I dug it up, but I figured it's pretty relevant. Been working on my presentation for the Hamside conference. I think I'm done. I think I got another free day tomorrow, so I'll see if I can wrangle it into a poster or not. I'm not quite sure if I can do that, but I'll give it a shot. And that's about it. So back to net, Dave.
Okay, very good. Next on the list is Human, KD2 MCR. Go ahead, Human.
Yeah, hello everyone. Not so much going on other than the magnetometer data portal is on the way. So one of my students is actually working on the data server with the help of the Alabama students and Bill Engelke. So it's moving along. Hopefully we can demonstrate that the workshop. So that's about it. Back to the net.
Okay, next on the list is Jay, WB8 SBI. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. Really nothing to report here. I was got the privilege of working W1AW Stroke 8 last week, and I'll be signing up again for that for later in this week on FT8. And it's interesting. Normally, when you put out a CQ, it's like, they've already worked me or I've already worked them and nothing happens. But when you lay that W1AW call sign out there, now all of a sudden you've got a lot of attention. So that was fun. Otherwise, looking forward to seeing everybody at the Hamside conference. And yeah, many thanks to Tim Duffy for donating those prizes. It was really great. Take care, everybody. 7-3, back to net.
Okay. Next on the list is Joe, W7LUX. Go ahead, Joe.
Good evening, everyone. Boy, we're getting tired of snow here. Got another 1.5 to 2.5 feet this week, and we're way over 100 inches so far. Anyway, I'm pretty tired of pulling stuff off the roof, doesn't cave in, etc. Flares, we've had a number of solar flares, mostly M1X that I remember seeing, and there's been quite a bit of disruption to the grape data, but I bought a 30-meter filter to protect the grape receiver when I'm using the other HF equipment. I can run pretty high power here if I need to, and I've done that. Thank you, Dave.
Okay, and let's see, I gotta get somehow I got my list covered up. Oh shoot. Anyway, I'm trying to get my list to show up and I can't erase. Nope, I did it. Okay. Next on the list is, who else do I have to call on? Jonathan, KC3 EEY. Go ahead, Jonathan.
Hi, everybody. It's been quite a busy week. I was able to successfully verify with the help of someone on the HAMSI list that I was able to receive a full copy of the SAQ message. So I was extremely happy about that. Very audible, very easy to hear. And again, that's if anyone is interested, there is an email thread on the list about it. So I was very happy about that. I also, looking at the HAMSI schedule, I noticed that Christina Collins was doing a presentation on solar flares with grape data and super darn data. So then I thought, oh, well, why don't I contact her and see if she would be interested in data from VLF transmitters. So what I was able to do was I was able to give her a list of dates that I had. Actually, these were actually saved plots from VLFRX tools data. When I would check for event files, I would also look at the VLF transmitters that I track. So I was able to give her like probably close to 20 or so dates, over 20 dates in 2022 where there was some sort of solar flare activity. So her partner working on this presentation, Shibaji, he is looking in the super darn data based on the dates that I have given him. And what we have found, and what I have found, and I'm sure there's a fairly complicated explanation for this, but when you would see a fairly large event or a fairly substantial SID in the VLF plot, there's often just a little bit of a hint in HF, and often when there might be a little bit of a hint of HF, you see a very large influence in the VLF plot, and there doesn't seem to be like situations where you have a large influence in VLF and also a large influence in HF. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And Shibaji was actually kind of interested in doing a correlation study comparing HF and VLF data for SIDS. So I was working with him. I spoke to a gentleman who is responsible for the TACAMO transmissions, the Navy aircraft that transmits, I believe it's at like 17.8 kilohertz. He was actually responsible for the program, and he was interested in the VLF observation event for the 2024 eclipse. So I told him about that and what I was looking for. So I'm going to network with him a little bit more. Possibly he can give us dates when the TACAMO transmissions occur. So us VLF enthusiasts can actually track them, which would be really cool, and even run them through FSK decoder, because they're often unencrypted transmissions. Also, I was today there was some fairly substantial geomagnetic activity, but the only thing that was detected in the VLF receivers was some risers that were detected over in England. No chorus events or anything. What else? There was also one more thing. Also, I was able to start on my presentation and my posters and everything else. That's also coming along, getting ready. I spoke to John Ackerman about his ugly interface board. So it's an all-in-one interface board for GPS module daughter cards. So he has daughter cards available for the NEA or the NEO, the LEO, and the Z9T GPS receivers, and it allows you to interface with a computer. So we discussed making a interposer board for Trimble module, Trimble modules on a carrier card, which are the modules that I use. And the hope is that John said that he's going to do this. He's going to bring his ugly interface board and one of his daughter boards, and he's going to show it at the Hamside conference, actually, probably next to me or at my table, where I'm going to show off my VLF hardware. And lastly, Nathaniel, you emailed me about writing a section in a manuscript for amateur VLF recordings. Let me know what you'd like, because I don't think Morris or Bill will be responding. That's all I have. Back to the net.
Very good. And next on the list, we have Phil. Phil, I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your last name. Mike, there you go.
Yeah, get it unmuted. Well, hello, everybody. My name is Phil Beal. It's sound out Beal.
Okay.
And my call is N7FWL. I'm in Portland, Oregon area. And I'm a retired engineer. And I just had some brief emails with Nathaniel about coming over here and playing around with your magnetometer and things like that. That's the interest I have. And of course, I have a lot of interest in space weather in general too. So the whole project is interesting to me. So I'm a newbie. Want to get started. I would like to be an early adopter, maybe for the magnetometer or something like that. So here I am.
Well, we're working on it. We should have some figured out and how to get them. And I think there's going to be some presentation at the Hamside conference, which will be both.
I'm a retired electrical engineer, by the way, too. So I expect I could be a lot of help with that too.
Yes. And by the way, the conference will be both in person and on Zoom, right, Nathaniel?
That's correct.
Where and when?
It's in Scranton, March 17th and 18th.
Okay, yeah. Well, this is a little far from me.
It will also be on Zoom.
Yes, yeah, that's fine. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'll see if I can attend that.
Okay. And there should be some talk about the magnetometers as well as the radios. So next, from another Oregonian, Tom in 5EG. Go ahead, Tom.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. The audio on this computer just failed tonight. Nothing would work. Nothing's playing, no output. So I plugged in a USB headset and trying to get all that selected. No idea what's going on. Probably an update. This week was not as busy as I'd like. I did manage to get Saturday and today to work on the project and uncovered some difficulties in trying to make the burst receiver work. The problem has to do with the DMA controllers. They can run at maximum pull-out speed about 1/5 as fast as we need them to run. And so I've got to come up with some other method to get burst data into the receiver. So that's going to take some study. I'm finding that Quartus QSys, or the platform designer, doesn't have very good error messaging. I set the width of the DMA controller to 64 bits. It told me that was fine. It synthesized it. And lo and behold, it put out an 8-bit data word. Doesn't matter what you told it, it's going to put out 8 bits. It turns out that's because the memory interface on the RAM chips on the board is 8 bits wide, and it cannot do a row address or column address bursting. And so that means that the maximum possible speed of memory is 400 megabits per second. And that's the aggregate of all DMA inputs plus outputs put together. I think that means that the gigabit Ethernet is going to be limited to about 200 megabits per second. And the receiver can't really use the DMA to get anything into memory. So I went ahead and instantiated a FIFO, and I'm going to do it with digital logic rather than DMA controller, and then bit bang the data from the FIFO into the CPU. When I synthesized that, I tried to find out what's the maximum depth of a FIFO that you can implement. And it's not documented anywhere. And it is documented that you can't exceed the maximum, and the maximum is equivalent to that size that you're not allowed to exceed. And so, but there's no number anywhere on any documentation. And so I went ahead and picked the FIFO of the right depth, and the system is absolutely hunky-dory, happy, synthesized, compiled, clean, and everything. And it took exactly 4 gates to implement 64K words of FIFO. And I kind of doubt that the compiler is that good. So there's something wrong. And apparently there's a depth to the FIFO, but it won't tell you what it is, and it won't give you an error when you try to select it. And so I've got some head scratching to do. I could have a case where the optimizer says, well, you're not using the FIFO, so I'll just remove all the unused gates, which is basically everything. Or it could be some other problem. And so the last 3 weeks worth of work pretty much had to be thrown away. I got to start that all over again. So at any rate, back to that next week. Back to the group.
Okay, well, thanks for your hard work, Tom, and we feel for you. I know it's frustrating when you hit these bumps. So we have a new person, Roman, into UCK. Go ahead, Roman.
Okay, there we go. How you doing?
Hello.
Hello, just listening in here out of New York City.
Oh, very good. Anything you want to tell us about yourself?
Retired phone man, which gives me now time to sit and play with the radios. I'm an extra class, and most of it's done mobiling.
Oh, okay. Well, very good and welcome. And if you find it interesting, please come back.
Plan on it.
So that's, I believe, everybody got called on at least once. So we're open for general discussion.
I have a question about the magnetometer server. Is there a public web page for the data, or is it just going into a write-only memory at the moment?
Well,
Especially
at the moment, it's
interested
still,
to see whether we're getting any burbles from the geomagnetic storm.
so I mean, it is still work in progress. We are sort of trying to migrate the data set from the server that Dave Witten is running to our own server through, I guess, the Alabama server, so that we can display the data. So yeah, it is still work in progress. Hopefully we can, have it done before the workshop.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's coming along. Yep.
I should give a couple more updates. Some are good news and some are bad news. Let's see. I guess I'll start with the good news first. I think the workshop attendance is going pretty well. I estimate we have about 90 people registered so far. I think we're going to exceed that rather soon. I'll put an advertisement out to the Hamside listserv probably again tomorrow. I'll probably have to cap the registration at about 150 people. I think that's about what our maximum is going to be able to handle in terms of facilities and other resources. But I do have the registration price down much lower than before. So I've subsidized the registration price. So if you do get a slot, it will be much less expensive than before. And if you've already paid, you will get a refund for the difference. So it's so I know some people have purchased registrations on here. at the original price. I will be sending out a refund as soon as we're able to. It'll take a little bit of time to get that processed, but there will be a refund there. So that's good
Do we
news.
get actual documentation on that, Nathaniel?
Yes, you will. It'll go straight back to your card, back to
Yeah.
whoever card. So and I'll send an email out. So if you've already paid that registration, I will be sending an email out to the people who did pay that registration.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking, because I've got to submit another form for the refund
Right.
in our system.
I will get that sent out. So
Yeah, I appreciate
kinda
it. Thank you.
work out some of the paperwork in the back here, but yes, I will send an email out if you're getting a refund. The other good news is both NASA put out a post about the solar eclipse QSO party, and that got picked up by Hackaday. So there's a number of posts out that I think you've probably seen on the Hamsai listserv about the upcoming solar QSO party, and people have been pre-registering for the solar eclipse QSO party, and we're now up to 131 pre-registered people. So that's really good. So a big thanks to Gary AFAA for getting all that website put together and getting the registration form. We could not have done that without you, Gary. So we really appreciate that. And then the bad news is I spoke to Jules Mady, and unfortunately, within the last week or so, he's been diagnosed with melanoma. So he's going into treatment for that. I asked him what the prognosis was, and he said, last I heard was he was talking to the oncologist and he doesn't know. But he did say that I was allowed to tell other people. So I've sent him my good wishes and, offered anything we could do for him. So similarly, if you're in touch with him, you may want to extend your good wishes, thoughts, prayers, things like that. So yeah, he's struggling a little bit right now, and he will not be able to make it to the Hamsai workshop. Yeah, but a number of other people, I know Dave Witten will be able to come to the Hamsai workshop, and a number of other people will as well. So
I suspect a lot of people don't know how extensive Jules's role has been in ham radio over the last many years, and his role with providing communications to the missions, the initial missions to Antarctica, and other things as a teenager. Lots of really fascinating things he's done.
I think this is one of the best ways to explain how extensive Jules's contributions have been. He actually has a ridge in Antarctica named after him. So so there it is, the Mady Ridge. It's a ridge trending north to west from Mount Moffett along the north side of the Bergquist Ridge of the Neptune Ridge, Pensacola Mountains, Antarctica. It is mapped in the United States Geological Survey, and it goes on and on. So it has been named by the Advisory Committee on Antarctic Names for Jules Mady of Clark, New Jersey, a ham radio operator who arranged innumerable phone patches between personnel in Antarctica and parties in the US from the period 1957 to 67. So he's well known for that. And I know a couple of years ago, you can find all sorts of stories like on the Antarctic Sun about both Jules and his brother working Antarctica and running those phone patches. And let's see, I think this one too. This was another interesting story that was in the newspaper about 3 years ago. I'm originally from New Jersey. This apparently was their house. 2 kids, a ham radio, and the world at their fingertips. How the Mady brothers made history in Clark, New Jersey. And it talks about their house. It talks about both Jules and his brother John, who has since passed away. John, his brother, I believe, also invented the free electron laser. And Jules, if you read the article, is actually credited as being the inventor of Easy Pass. So Jules has had quite an impact on our lives, ham radio or not. So I certainly hope that all of this is treatable and that we will have Jules back with us. Yeah, his brother became a prominent scientist and invented the free electron laser. So they're quite the pair.
That's kind of the classic ham radio story in some ways. You know, how they became fascinated in high school and got involved with the Navy and did all of these really impressive things just out of enthusiasm for the the opportunity to communicate in ways that weren't available to most people in those days.
By the way, I just put the link for the WWV frequency event flyer that's this weekend. They're having
That's
a special
great.
event.
And I think we have a few ham site people flying out for that. So I know Aiden Montare is already there, and then David Kazan and Rachel Bodeker are also heading out there and giving talks. So that's very exciting.
It's not going to be online, is it?
I haven't heard anything to that effect, Jim, no. It wouldn't hurt to look at the www.arc.org website and check, but I'm a member of the club and I haven't heard him talking about it the last couple meetings. at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've looked at it too and I didn't see it. I missed the last meeting.
I want to say hello to Phil Beal. Thank you for joining us tonight. So I know I asked you to come on to, if you're going to be an early adopter. So right now we need to, we are planning on having some of the magnetometer boards at the Hamsci workshop. And I don't think we have figured out how to price or sell them yet. Dave Larson, since you're on the Tapper board, do you have any information on that?
Well, we're still trying to figure out, Scotty told us on this set that he had sent them to Alabama, to the place where our store used to be. Our store for Tapper is moving and it's going to move to Michigan. So I have not heard, Dan is also on the board. Have you heard anything about the move of the store yet, Dan?
No, Dave, I've heard nothing.
So,
Where in Michigan?
Flint.
Flint.
No, it's actually it's in Ann Arbor.
Oh, Ann Arbor. Okay.
Little different.
Who's going to be the keeper of the new store?
George.
George Burkett.
Oh, okay.
And they're in the process, the old storekeeper Bruce and the new storekeeper George are working out the details of getting the stock shipped and everything. I think Bruce is in the process of moving to a different house. So he's got some urgency to move things along.
Okay.
So
I just wish we could arrange to get the stuff shipped out of Benton Harbor. Now that would bring some nostalgia, wouldn't it? Just right down the street from Ann Arbor.
well, Bill, the old store was in Spanish Fort, Alabama. So
That's
that's
about
not
the only thing that would have been in Spanish Fort.
So it's not too far from you.
By the
So-
way, will there be a sample of the magnetometer packaging at the workshop? Otherwise, I think I have one that Nathaniel you sent me, so I can maybe bring it to.
Can you plan on bringing that, Hyomin?
Sure. Yeah,
So-
too bad that Jewel cannot attend because he contributed. I mean, he is the designer. He suggested design and then he actually constructed everything. So
I know.
yeah, he. But
Dave-
anyways, yeah, I'll
Dave
bring
Whit-
one and then.
Yeah.
Hmm?
And Dave Witten, who's on here, he will be coming too. So maybe you can coordinate with Dave and I
Sure.
can have you two at a table together. So you can have your like poster, your demonstration with the new website and be able to demonstrate hardware all at the same table.
Sure. Yeah.
I think both Bill and I have the new tube style in the ground. Is that right, Bill? Do you have the
Yeah, I think I do have one of the newer ones running in the ground.
yeah. And I actually took a picture of mine to send to Bill the other day, and it's in the ground and running.
So
But-
Bill,
For a while, and one of them smoked, so I got the other one. Sorry, Nick, go ahead.
Oh, that's okay. So I was just gonna say, Phil, we'll just as soon as we get the as soon as they work out where the store is and the pricing, we can sell you one.
Yeah. And Dave Witten has a few P&I boards. Somehow the P&I boards did not get ordered at the time of
Are you guys
manufacture.
having these pick and placed, or are they being built, or are they being hand built?
They were a CM in Phoenix built them.
Okay.
Somebody that's.
I was just wondering if you needed help with assembly or something like that. I could.
Oh, no, these are professionally assembled
Yeah.
by a CM in Phoenix that Scotty, who works with geez, just
Some
went
sweet.
out of my head. What? Go ahead.
I don't know.
Dan, what's the company? Do you know?
I do not remember, Dave. I should, but I don't.
So, but we have 250 pairs. The board in the ground is similar, but not exactly the same. It's the same PCB, but some components are missing from one end and some are missing from the other end, as they were not necessary. So to make it as cheap as possible, we have pairs of boards, and I believe there were 250 built. And I don't know, and they were shipped to Alabama. We're trying to get about 20 of them to get to Hamsai. And Dave Witten has somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 P&I boards, because it takes a standard pluggable P&I board. And you have to, I don't know, Dave, can you buy them in one-offs, or do you have to buy 10 at a time?
P&I, the company that makes the actual magnetometer module, the little 1-inch square board, they pre-make those. We've been buying them pre-made from them, and you solder on, I think, 14 pins, and then you just plug it into the support modules. That is really what we're providing. I have a number in hand. I hope to have a few more soon. They have revamped their website. For a while, you could only get them by going through the gymnastics of pro forma, a kind of business to business setup, but they have redone their website. So it's possible to buy the modules now in onesies up to a quantity of 10 per order for about $25 a piece. But if someone's really desperate, but I do hope to have somewhere in the vicinity of 20. I haven't received my last order for 10 yet, but that was really only late last week. So hopefully I'll have ones available either with me at the Hamsai meeting or more likely give them to the tapper, whoever's actually, going to ship them, and they'll come as part of the kit. I think that's a better solution. But otherwise, I have not seen these kits, so I do not know precisely what's in them, and I've not been able to communicate with the folks who ought to know. So there may be some stumbling around. Hopefully we'll have some answers to that at the Hamsai workshop. And they'll be available not too long afterwards.
I wanted to ask Kelman a question. Do you have copies of the paper that you did for the hardware magazine?
It's very drafty at the moment, so
Oh, okay. It's not.
Yeah. It's
together.
not. Yeah, I
But
mean,
if
I can try to polish as much as I can, but there are a lot of technical information that I'm not so familiar with, so I'm still relying, largely on what Dave Witten and Jules Meddy have been providing for me. So
Okay.
because
Well,
I realized that the Hardware X is highly hardware oriented. So
yes,
like bill of materials, for example, I still don't have those.
For the magnetometer, well, the exact one that Scotty used, no, we don't have that. But I'm trying to round up all the information I can get my hands on.
Or I actually tried to look at the other, unrelated Hardware X papers, and I think the format is rather flexible. I think you don't really have to. I mean, the basic idea of Hardware X journal is that anyone should be able to sort of reproduce whatever that's shown, so that you because this is supposed to be what do you call it? I mean, it's supposed to be like in the
Open
public
source?
domain.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why you have to show the entire circuit diagram, bill of material, and everything, so that anyone can reproduce it. However, I'm not so sure if this is strictly required. So I think I'm gonna contact the publisher to see how flexible that is. It seems like it's providing everything seems too much. And I look at the other papers, some people don't really do that. So I'll try to contact the publisher. If
Phil,
it's not necessary, then
you can also see that Gary put the magnetometer user manual, installation manual in the chat there.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Okay.
Mhm.
Hey, Nathaniel.
Yes, Jay.
As you were talking about the refunds and you got to the word on your card, I had a crash, or my Zoom crashed. Other than getting the refunds back, was there anything else after that?
Not particularly, just that getting the refund back may take longer than you would think it would, because I've learned that university financial systems are more complicated than you may expect.
Okay.
That's an understatement.
You have any information so that you're getting near 190, I believe you said, attendees?
I think right now I have about 40 people who have like paid, and maybe about like 50 that are registered as like funded participants. And so, that's about 90 right there. And I said I'll probably have a registration go up to about 150 people.
Do you keep track of online registrations? I mean, how many
Oh,
people?
online is unlimited.
Oh, okay. Does
Yes.
online charge?
No, online does not charge, because
Oh,
the only thing the money goes for is for food. There's like that is the registration goes entirely to food.
aha.
And now even the food is being subsidized. So
As long as there's chocolate for dessert at the banquet, real chocolate.
that I'm not sure. I know there's a package. I'll ask tomorrow, because I'm meeting with the banquet person. So I also gave up chocolate for Lent, so that's gonna be a
Well, I don't have that concern myself.
okay.
But by the way, thank you for the email chain about the breakfast and things like that.
Yeah, it may end up being breakfast burritos instead of breakfast sandwiches, but still the same idea. There will be egg on some sort of a non-sugary carbohydrate.
Yeah.
thing.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, if I eat something, too much sugar or carbs, yeah, the doctor can say, "Oh yeah, look at this."
Yeah. No, I think the menu's hopefully going to be good. Yeah, there will be for the breakfast. It says continental breakfast on the website, but there will be one day it'll be like a Danish, and the other day it will be I think scones, and then both days are going to have at least we'll have breakfast burritos as well. So
yeah. As long as there's protein, we're good.
There is
Thank
protein.
you.
You're welcome. Jonathan, you had lots to say.
Yes, about what? About the
Well, you had lots to say about everything, which is great. I think that's wonderful. So, I know you had lots to say about the working with Christina and working with Shibaji, which was really good. I was going to say, I'll have to be in touch with you about the Frontiers paper, because I'm still figuring that out. I'm not sure exactly how much space we will really have. I also want to get, find out what Bill and Morris think about adding in VLF to that particular paper. So I'm just not sure what the whole scope of that's going to be yet. But I'll be in touch more as we find out some more. I talked with Bill Lyles a little bit about it today on Zoom, but we didn't get a chance to talk too much.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I actually reached out to Christine myself just because I thought it would be cool to have our data included with that.
Yes.
And it turns out that hopefully the dates that I given them could actually help them with their presentation. So
That would be really cool. I think that would be very, very, very good.
yeah, and it's really convenient that like you could pull up a diurnal plot of each NA or each VLF transmitter that you're monitoring, and you could look each day to see if there's some sort of solar flare activity. So and I just had like plot images that I generated every time that I checked. So I figured, well, I'll just give them these dates, and then maybe they could find something.
Yeah.
And hopefully this could lead to some sort of correlation study. And then it could also lead to combining VLF data with HF data, kind of like you wanted. So
Yeah, that'd be great.
yeah.
Were you able to use my software?
I haven't used it yet. but I will be using it to make more plots for my presentation and the poster. I actually just started on the posters today. And I also have to get busy myself because I have an article that I owe the Inspire Journal. I have to get that to the editor by mid-March. So I was gonna write the article on the VLF system. Just a basic description. Well, like an in-depth description of the system and the all the things we could do, the different sorts of signals and VLF events and all that stuff. So yeah, I have to get busy on that. It's crunch time for me actually, so I'll be very, very, very busy.
Oh, I understand. Yeah, that's very good though. I feel like there's one other thing I wanted to say to you, but I can't remember. I guess it'll come back to me eventually.
Was it regarding the demonstration table?
Maybe, but that's a good thing to talk about too. Yeah, I like the idea of having you and John at the same table and trying to put you have the back of the table be towards the last windows in the LSC Bell lobby. So that hopefully there'll be enough of a GPS signal coming through the hall there to let you be able to demonstrate something.
Yeah, and then I could also use my laptop to demonstrate John's board as well, but he might bring his laptop to kind of demonstrate it. But I think that would be good because that could be a good development platform for any sort of GPS that you might want to use or integrate in various different systems. The equipment that John mentioned for survey, I don't know what would be involved in setting up a TEC station. So I can't really help with that because I don't really know what's involved. I know what I know what to do for Trimble modules, but it's kind of a it won't work like a real-time system like the U-blocks will, so I can't really give much input on that, but I figured, yeah, if John could bring it and it could be stored at school, and then if a student is interested in setting up a TEC station, they could set it up and John could be the mentor.
Yeah, I absolutely agree.
Yeah, because I don't really have any use for it, but yeah, everything should actually work out really well. Oh, there was one thing that I wanted to ask you. Is would there be any chance? Oh, were you able to clear some of the grass away from the VLF antenna?
Oh, there's really no grass over there.
Oh, good. Okay.
In fact, I meant to send. I took pictures just like last week. I meant to send you, but it's been so busy. But I think I can just show you now.
Oh, perfect.
So now it's all snow, not grass. But yeah, there's really no grass out there.
Oh, good. Okay.
So I don't think you really have to worry about it.
Because I remember during the summer there was
It's very, very minimal.
yeah, there was some grass around it, but I just wanted to make sure because if the grass were to touch the antenna, then it would kind of shunt out the signal.
Yeah, let me see here. I know oh yeah, here you go. Yeah, I took that photo last week.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
So I think
That's
it's
nice.
just fine.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's perfect. Wow.
Went too far. There you go. Yeah.
Can you send me those?
Yeah.
You know, it's a really cool though, like that that it's still in a really nice condition. And it's working this well for, you know, so long. The putting everything inside a PVC pipe was such a good idea. Is your grape still sending or producing valid data?
Yeah, I think so. I need to double check that. I'm actually a little concerned with my HF antennas right now. So I haven't checked on them. My Kiwi SDR, which is connected to the same antenna as my grape, has been acting up. So I really need to check on the grape too, but I just haven't had a chance.
What about the magnetometer? Is that still operational?
It is sending data.
Oh,
So, because if you go to, let's see. All right, you should now have an email with those photos in them.
ah, perfect.
I got a question. I was, for better or for worse, I was under the impression that the instrumentation had to be buried in the ground, and here it looks like you have it setting on a pole. Is that
Well, there's two different things going on here.
Okay.
So over here, that's the magnetometer, and that is buried in the ground. This thing that Jonathan has is a VLF receiver antenna. And so that's not buried in the ground. So there's two different things going on here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So you're welcome. So then, according to the Bill's personal space weather station control system, my magnetometer is still sending data. And now I have it set. If you go to psws.hamsci.org, it automatically redirects you to Bill's central control system.
Oh, okay. Now green just means that it's sending data. It doesn't necessarily mean that those values are
Valid or anything. Right.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
what Hyomin is doing right now, Hyomin has a student who's working on a new page on this website, which will let you visualize the magnetometer data. So then you'll actually be able to see is the data good or not.
I see. Okay.
So
Yeah, because I was wondering if, you know, how it was actually behaving, but since it's, you know, when it's pulled over I squared C and it actually returns data, then more than likely then everything is fine. Because I was just concerned that, you know, there was water might have gotten in there inadvertently, but it looks like everything's nice and dry, which is good.
yeah. Let's see. So this is my grape plot for, this is going back to October 26th. So all those look okay. I haven't gone in here in a while. Yeah, I think I need to take a look at my HF antennas here, because I'm not convinced this is doing a good job. Okay.
Um, Yeah, there's definitely something wrong there. It doesn't look like there's any signal at all, really.
Well, you know, there's an easy. Let me see what is going on here. Yeah, it does not look like there's any signal at all.
Is the GPSDO
Well, as I said, I've been having trouble with my Kiwi too. So if I unplug this, what happens? Not a whole lot.
Hmm.
I have a second antenna here. Let me see if I can connect that up.
all right?
It would be good to troubleshoot this a little bit. Let me see. Go around to the back.
We could troubleshoot it after the conference. You know, like I could actually come up to your house and we could work on it.
Yes. Why don't I just I can move this one piece of coax and try this one very easy thing.
Just be careful of the of
Be careful of everything.
yeah.
All right. Okay, let me bring up my Kiwi SDR. I didn't reconnect it yet, but the Kiwi SDR will be very telling.
Yeah.
Probably more so than the this one. All right, so that's the Kiwi SDR right now. That's with the original antenna connected. There's no antenna. There's minimal difference between the original antenna and no antenna. Here's that antenna connected again. There's some difference. Okay.
It's like
And this is all right. Let me try. I also have it going through this high power guard. So there's this box by DX Engineering that is supposed to clamp down the input power and protect the receivers if. Oh, well, there you go. Look at the difference.
That's a big difference.
Yeah. So one of my antennas is just bad.
Oh,
Or there's something going on with, so yeah, that's the antenna. Now I have it connected to my ZS6BKW. Before I had it connected to my off-center fed dipole.
Oh, yeah, and I could see the
You can see the ionosons there now.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a world difference.
Yeah, wow. Look at all the noise down
Oh my gosh, it's so much better. Yeah, so it's probably been like that for like a month or so. And now you're starting to see some 10 megahertz on WWV as well.
Yep. Yep. There it is.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, thanks for asking me about that, because I was just not working. Yeah, now I have to go track down what's wrong with that other antenna.
Well, like I said, after the conference, if you have time, I could come down and we could investigate what's going on.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to do like a spring maintenance day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. Definitely need to do that.
Hey, Nathaniel,
Yes,
I
Dylan.
have some questions about the case.
Okay.
I have sort of a general mock-up right here. Just got to pull all the boards up. We're going to share my screen real quick.
And Gary, the answer to your question is yes. That looks cool.
So basically the main issue that I have are these big slots where these the inputs and outputs are. These ones on the side aren't as big of an issue. I guess that one's not gonna work. But I was also curious to see if the 4 ports on this side would be able to like be unsoldered from the board and then have them mounted remotely from the board and just have pieces of wire that are soldered from those sockets to the PCB.
I think. Yeah.
I dare say
No,
Scotty's
that's
not
not
gonna go for
happening.
that.
Okay.
Yeah, I would think Scotty would have to be would have to help you with that.
Yeah, the two things. One, you can build it so that you have a cable going from those connectors to a external connector. But no, they're soldered to the board and they'll stay there. Also, be aware, those are actually round connectors like the white one you have up
Oh,
on the
okay.
side there. Those are just place keepers, but not accurate physical models.
Okay. So, and then
what you might consider,
main thing is
because you have a you've got the bottom plate there, you might consider more a set of shells that come together. So like you have the base plate and the back two walls on one piece, and then the top and the front two walls on a second piece. Then you can fit it around the board without having large slots like you have there.
So I'm not quite understanding what you just said. Sorry.
Well, you have 2 of the walls on the bottom plate and 2 walls on the top plate. And it goes together like you might call it clamshells.
Okay, so you're saying this is the left side right here. So you're saying have the left and the right side connected to the bottom, and then the front and the front and then the back side connected to the top.
Yes.
Okay.
Or vice versa. But yes, that sort of thing.
You know what? I'm gonna morph that a little bit. So basically I'll have this side, the left side and the front connected together on the top. And then that was a good idea, because I've been wrapping my mind around this for the past couple of days, trying to figure out what I'm gonna do with this. But yeah, do the left side and then the front with the top, and then vice versa for the bottom, because if I do these 2 sides, then it's gonna be a pain in the butt to try and fit these ports in with these at the same time.
Yep.
And
you
then
got it.
if you do the front and the right and the left, then you won't be able to have room to move the board away to fit the IO ports in. So that's a good, I think that'll work perfect. I would try to wrap my brain around that. So that would help a lot. To have something like that. Sweet. Well,
I think
I guess that answers that.
I think Gary had a good idea too in the chat. He suggested that you might send Jules QSL cards, letting him know that we're thinking of him. So his call sign's K2KGJ. So if everyone has a QSL card, everyone who has a QSL card, if you want to drop him a QSL card, let him know that we're thinking about him. It might be a nice thing to do. I think we are overtime for tonight. I think that's about it for me.
Nathaniel, before you run, would you take a look at my plot for today? See if there's
Sure.
something screwy about it. I'm going to share a screen and share. Okay. How do I move this out of the way? Can you see the entire plot?
I can, yes.
There's a fair amount of wild swings here I don't remember having seen before. Are these semi-normal?
It's hard to tell.
Is this
there's
today? You're saying this is today's plot?
This is today's plot,
Yeah.
yes.
There's been a lot
we've
of
had
geomagnetic activity,
It's
right?
been a very strong geomagnetic storm today. KP has been 6 and 7 all day.
Okay, so we are having disturbances. Okay,
Yes, very
that's
strong.
what I need. So I'm going to stop sharing if that's okay with everybody.
Incidentally, Pat Reif, who is our keynote speaker at this upcoming Hamsci workshop, she runs a space weather alert system that you can subscribe to for free out of the Rice Space Institute. And let's see if I can put the I'm going to see if I can find the link in the chat. Put the link in the chat here. Options. There you go. There's this thing called SpayCal Alert. The real-time space weather disturbance warnings listserv. So if you subscribe to that, which I just put in the chat, you will get warnings that are, red and yellow about geomagnetic disturbances. And that's probably one of the better ones to subscribe to.
Thank you, Nathaniel.
You're welcome. All right. Thank you very much, everyone. I really appreciate it.
All right, good on all. Have a good week.
Have a good night.
7-3.
7-3.
7-3.